there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books and bookish things. I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Time, as well as some extra videos sprinkled in here and there like I am doing for the end of the year. I am an independent author, an avid reader, and a cat mom of 3, and today I thought we would do a Greek myth retelling, and that is Medea by Eilish Quin. Let's get into it. So coming in first with the book blurb, we have, discover the full story of sorceress Medea, one of the most reviled and maligned women of Greek antiquity, in this propulsive and evocative debut in the tradition of Circe, Electra, and Stoneblind. Among the women of Greek mythology, the witch Medea may be the most despised, known for the brutal act of killing her own children to exact vengeance on her deceitful husband, the Argonauts' leader Jason. Medea has carved out a singularly infamous niche in our histories. But what if that isn't the full story? The daughter of a sea nymph and granddaughter of a titan, Medea is a paradox. She is at once rendered compelling by the virtue of the divinity that flows through her bloodline, and made powerless by the fact of her being a woman. As a child, she intuitively submerges herself in witchcraft and sorcery, but soon finds it may not be a match for the prophecies that hang over her entire family like a shroud. As Medea comes into her own as a woman and as a witch, she also faces the arrival of hero Jason, preordained by the gods to not only be her husband, but also her lifeline to escape the isolated existence. Medea travels to the treacherous seas with the Argonauts, battles demons she never conceived of, and falls in love with the man who will ultimately be her downfall. In this propulsive and beautifully written debut, readers will finally hear Medea's side of the story through a fresh and feminist lens. This one came out in February 13th of 2024. It is 304 pages in hardcover and in audiobook, which I listened to this one as an audiobook while I was reading the hardcover, kind of back and forth. It's about 12 hours in audiobook form. Not even for a debut book, but for a book in general, this one was brilliant. This was such a good book. The ending was satisfying in a way that I was not expecting it to be. When I purchased this, it came up as a recommendation for me on Goodreads, and I was like, okay, I'll add it to my wish list. I saw it on sale at a local bookstore, so I bought it, not knowing anything about Medea as the Greek figure. I knew nothing about her. I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. What's going on? I don't know the story. So the basic story of Medea that we know through Greek myth is that she helps Jason obtain the Golden Fleece by betraying her father, and he then cheats on her with a princess of another kingdom. There may or may not have ever actually been married. In an act of vengeance, she kills, that's my heat kicking on. It is 41 degrees as of filming this in North Texas. She kills the princess, she kills the princess's dad, she kills her own children, all to hurt Jason. And that's it. That's the end of the story, essentially. But this book takes it a step further because the Greek myth is told mostly through Jason's point of view. Even in I want to say it's Euripides play, it's more so focusing on Jason than it is on Medea, even though it's supposed to be her story. And this book was so brilliant. It pieced together things that I didn't know. I looked up the Greek myth after talking to a friend of mine who had also purchased the book and told me it was brilliant. And this book takes the source material, wrings it out, and refreshes it in a way that feels true to the Greek, that it's conniving and deceptive enough that it could be with the Greek myth, but with a modern twist to it. This book feels at the same time archaic and modern, if that makes sense. That it feels like it could be just, in places it feels like it could be just a modern translation of the original, and in other places it feels so wholly modern and contemporary to where we are now. And I just feel like that's really hard to do. That's absolutely brilliant. For the author, I'm not sure if her name is Eilish or Eilish. The audiobook narrator pronounced it as Eilish, but I saw a book review of of this. Someone's like little mini review calling her Eilish. So I'm not sure if it's Eilish or Eilish. Either way, utterly brilliant book. It's not terribly long. Like I said, it's only 304 pages in a hardcover. And wonderfully brilliant. We have an evil, conniving father. We have a wronged put upon women. We have the struggle between destiny and prophecy versus free will and agency. And that, if you've been around my channel, you know I'm a big fan of women with agency. The prophecy still comes to pass, but that's not all there is. There's more to the story. And I found that brilliant, the way that it subverts things, and that the ending is coming like a freight train, and you're hoping it goes one way, but the other, on the same side of the coin, you're still worried that it's not going to happen that way, that it's going to happen the way that it happened in the original. And it does, but it doesn't. And this book was so brilliant. That being said, I don't think it's one I'll read again, because the ending is such a gut punch of a twist that I don't think I can read it again and be surprised by it, maybe in several years, but it's not one that I'm going to venture back to. It is 5 stars. I'm very glad to have read this book. I'm happy to have it floating around in my brain, but it's just not one that I will be returning to. It's told first person through Medea's point of view, and we don't get any other point of view. We stay on Medea the whole story, and we see the machinations of everyone around her. Everyone around her is conniving and has these like delusions almost of grandeur going on, and it was just so brilliant, so brilliantly written. It feels lush and at the same time austere in places, because you feel the loneliness and the isolation that Medea faces, and you feel the sadness and the heartbreak and the longing to belong and knowing that you can't, in such a way. And the adventures are lush and rife with all sorts of it's absolutely totally brilliant book. I just don't think I can stand to read it again. I don't think I can stand to put myself through that again, because it's so well written, because it's so perfectly described and put together in all these ways. I just don't think I can put myself through that again. Malcolm came to say hi. So have you read Medea? Have you read any other Greek myth retellings? I'm loving that Greek myth and Greek antiquity is getting kind of a renaissance, a revival in a way. I'm here for it. I was very into Greek myths as a child, Greek myths and Norse mythology as a child, and I just loved this. I'm enjoying every one that I read for the most part. Like I said, have you read Medea? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? How can you dislike this book? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.